Thanks, Janet. Nice segue. I do surfing, so hey, I like doing that stuff. Thanks very much to Kathy and Tamlin. Can everyone hear me okay? And J&J. Bit lower. Yeah, thanks to J&J for allowing me. It's interesting just having a look at the two speakers in front of me. It's always good being last. You think, oh, where do I fit in? So I guess we got Mark with plenty of experience, got all the scars in the back from doing the commercialisation, and Jane's going through it right now. And so we're stepping back and say, okay, if you are an academic researcher, what skills do I need and what should I be aware of if I am going to make the transition into a commercial role? I haven't misspelt transition, that is my company, it is trademark. And so what we're just going to cover is what skills do you need. So we're stepping back a bit. Okay, I'm thinking about doing this, what do I need to do? So these are the four areas we're going to cover. And the first one is the difference, and it's touched on by Janet and Mark, just in, notice the way you talk, cash flow, net return, all this, beautiful stuff. If you're in private land, you get it every day. A lot of you listening to it think, what the hell is he talking about, So that's the difference, and that's where you need to get to. So we'll talk about some of those differences now, and you'll probably say, oh yeah, I know this. But there are cultural differences. Let's have a look at the objectives. In academia, it's about producing good science, but in business, it's how much is it going to cost, what's the return, where's the bottom line? So we start using some of Mark's terminology already. So that's the difference. One of the differences is certainly with the objectives. As far as confidentiality, you're looking to publish in the academic world, but in private land it's all about the patent, and Jane took us through where they're up to provisional patenting, etc. So that is important, and therefore all the procedures prior to that to make that work. So as far as the audience, there is a difference again. With academia, it's your peers, around here, upstairs, over the road. And it's a lot of various stakeholders, and Mark said, he beat the bushes with the VC people around Australia and then had to go overseas, and he had to talk to lots of people to get there, and that's part of it. So it's a totally different audience, if you like. The focus from academia is from recognition of what you've done to where's the product. Janet just finished off. I'm at the stage of licensing. Do I do that? Do I leap out and surf across the cliff and spin out a company? So that's what's the products, what are you trying to do? At the end of the day, Mark mentioned $1.3 billion thereabouts, 13 years to get a product. So you've got to be in it for the long term, but it is based around products. So there's some of the cultural differences, if you like. And then the questions are, why are you doing the research you're doing? And in business, how much is it costing? When's the deadline? Are you going to deliver on that deadline? So that's the totally different, and you need to deliver on that outcome. So there can be differences there because it's totally driven. We can't afford to gin around here. We need to get a result. So and because you're all entrepreneurs, we need to understand the difference between, again, being in the academic world and being an entrepreneur. And again, there's these differences from communication. You're applying for fellowship grants, it's been touched on, whereas as an entrepreneur, you're pitching to investors, and they've pitched so many times to different people trying to get your story. You've all heard about the 2-minute elevator speech. When you've got it that perfect that you can say that and every word counts, you're really becoming an entrepreneur. So as far as handling rejection, again, there's those cultural differences. In academia, it's from the reviewers of your manuscripts, and it's talking to clients. What's the value? What value do you bring? Where's my return on investment? How am I? And as Mark's touched on, every stakeholder thinks it's their company. So all of a sudden, you've got 15 different stakeholders, or however many there are, and they all want to know about it, and you've got to add the value for them as such. Again, the differences between validating progress in the value of what you're doing, you need to present that to your peers. And then again, it's the stakeholders. What's the benefit the old FM radio station, what's in it for me? WII FM, what's in it for the stakeholders? So you've got to get away from yourself and look at what do they want out of it. And then the risk in academia is demonstrating your research. This is really important. And as an entrepreneur, it is being the disruptor to the industry, the first one in it. Janet's touched on that with, we're looking at, the diagnostic side, but I'm not sure what I'll do there. Am I going to be the first one? Mark's done the same as well. So you've got to be a disruptor, one outside science area, which we all know is Uber. The taxi industry is never the same again. Google is another one. Take your pick. And again, another difference with perseverance and self-doubt. There is an opportunity that within academia you might do a lot of experimental results that may or may not be conclusive. And again, as an entrepreneur, you'll have those constant problem solving against time the whole time. Okay, I've got these 4 things I need to do today and they need to get done. And both previous speakers have touched on, you just get it done. So there are differences, and then I ask you, if you are thinking you're an entrepreneur, do this quick audit of how ready am I to be an entrepreneur. And what I ask you to do mentally, I'm not going to ask you individually, but can you go through this list and is it a yes to all these, or is it a yes, a no, no, yes? So just have a think about it, and I won't ask you, but you can ask us later and see what you think. But do you have entrepreneurial spirit, yes or no? Do setbacks motivate you to try harder, or do you become frustrated and give up, yes or no? Do you have a clear vision, and that's been touched on by our previous speakers, of where the business will take you? Can you articulate? Can you do your 2-minute elevator speech? Yes or no? Do you know how to turn your ideas into business? One of the major quandaries with somebody starting out is, where do I go? Where do I get help? And J&J Innovation is a classic case of being able to help out in this area. Janet touched on it. She uses a mentoring service as well. And everyone's done the same. I know Mark's had a lot of help in the past from previous people. But you've got to be able to ask, is it yes or no to all these audits? Do you know how to evaluate your business idea? We just heard that again, at the risk of saying we've repeated a lot of this. And do you know where your customers are? I've heard many, speaking to a lot of venture capital firms and a lot of people who do pitches, and they always say, our product will go worldwide. And everyone looks at it and they go, how worldwide? How big? How small? What's the dollar return on it? Again, Janet touched on that with her profile on one of the allergies. So you have to be very, very clear. So in your own mind, if you've said yes to all those, keep listening. If you said no, have a think about what you're doing. And I want to touch on the skills required. So stepping right back between an entrepreneur, and I just thought I'd mention an intrapreneur as well. It's okay for somebody to start up a company, but they also need somebody on the inside who can still problem solve, still sort out, take an idea and say, oh, okay, if we step out of the box, we could do this. So it's someone within the company with the same skills helping the entrepreneur as well. So there is that possibility. There's a whole lot of skills there. I won't read them all out, but we've covered some of them, like independent thinking, creativity, flexibility, agile thinking, critical judgment, networking. We've heard that. Yeah, you've got to go to the functions, you've got to talk to people, you've got to get an idea of what's going on. And just your breadth of knowledge, and again, both of them talked on. I've learned, started off in science, I now know about IP, I know about financials. You cover a whole lot of different areas, and you've got to become a mini expert or surround yourself with the right people. The smart people are the ones who realise, I haven't got those skills, I probably won't learn it, I probably won't do a good job, so I better get the right person in to help me. So be aware they are the skills required. I can't help but mention project management. You have to hit your deadlines. The outcome driven, you've got to use good time management. and just presentation skills. So we're looking for, or companies are looking for, and Mark and Janet may have comments, and Kathy from her experience too, a focused, well-planned, motivated person who can work with others and make things happen is what, from my viewpoint as a recruiting company, that my clients are looking for those type of people. If you have those skills and you are developing them, terrific. You stand a good chance of getting a role in the commercial area. If you do not have those skills, you will not get a role. Other skills required, but very much overseas experience. Most of you people are shoving off or have been off overseas doing further studies. But industry awareness, know where you're going, who's playing in the market. I had a quick look at Janet's last, she was thanking all of her partners and that, and I had a look and thought, yep, know that one, no, I don't know that one. So, how many, if we went back to that slide, how many people knew a lot of those companies down the bottom? It's just curious. And just to say, I told you so, this is from UQ down the road, from the Entrepreneurship and Innovation State of the Play. The hallmark of an entrepreneurial venture is its ability to innovate in a way that others have not been able to and forge opportunities that do not exist. Yep, that's what it's about. You're creating something out of nothing and adding value. Innovation is a way of creative, clever problem solving in a manner that it hasn't happened before. So you've got a lot of these skills now, how can I use them in a commercial sense? And then translating these into a sustainable and profitable application for a new context commercially is what it's about. Quote, the last line is should be in big bold. Employers expect this type of thinking from employable graduates. So if you don't have those skills, please, I implore you, go out and start developing them now. If you want to move into this commercial space, as you've seen from the previous speakers, that is what's required. Covered very briefly a little bit about the skills.